right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am Morgan Zients. I'm the Senior Product Education Manager here at Jotform. Welcome to How Colleges and Universities Boost Efficiency with Jotform Enterprise. I know that at least many of the folks who signed up for today's webinar are already Jotform users. In this session, we're going to be talking more specifically about how our Jotform Enterprise license can better enable collaboration throughout your university or your department while still keeping student and faculty data safe. Quick agenda and some housekeeping before we move into the content. So first, our agenda today is that I'm going to talk about what Jotform Enterprise is and how it differs from single Jotform user licenses. This will include some examples of customers that might be just like you. And we will also have a demo followed by time for live questions. I do want to mention my colleague Alex is on the line with us today, so please don't feel like you have to wait until the end for questions. You can ask questions at any time. He will be behind the scenes answering questions as they come up. You will see the box for questions, which I know I can see that some of you have already found underneath the slides today. Also on the console to the right, if at any point today you're interested in talking to a member of our enterprise team, there is an already written message there. All you need to do is hit send. That will go right off to them. And then underneath me on the left-hand side, you'll see a box containing a number of resources that are relevant to today's session. I'll recap those at the end, but that includes the case studies I'll be sharing today. Any of these can be moved or minimized or maximized so that you can focus on whatever it is you most want to focus on today. So, and feel free to engage with those as you would like. And again, ask questions at any time. And I think that's it as far as housekeeping. So let's dive into the content. All right, so starting at the beginning, first things first, what is Jotform Enterprise? Enterprise is an all-in-one technology toolkit and collaborative workspace that is designed to securely collect and manage data, automate administrative tasks, and streamline processes. That means that the platform can function in many different capacities for your university or department or whatever organization it is that you belong to, where enterprise might be a benefit. It can be a resource planning system to manage facilities management, day-to-day operations, compliance, any other internal business processes. It can be school accounting software for things like tuition and invoices, a student information system for recording grades or evaluations, as well as a faculty and staff management system for employee information, performance reviews, onboarding, professional development, and more. When you are within Jotform, if you are a single user, you will notice that Jotform Enterprise looks very similar to what you're used to. It's a quick and easy transition. But behind the scenes, there are some notable differences that make Enterprise an essential system that, again, provides access for your entire department or organization without compromising data security. One of the key features in practice is plan limits. As an individual Jotform user, you have limited storage space, which means that there are limitations on the number of forms, workflows, agents, et cetera, that you can create. But with Enterprise's unlimited storage, you also have unlimited access to create as many forms, workflows, apps, reports, tables, et cetera, as you need to set up multiple workflows and automate tasks to free up time for faculty and staff to focus on education and educating. And you can use advanced features like and conditional logic to streamline processes across departments, some of which you see here, like admissions, alumni affairs, athletics, information technology, and more. I mentioned we'll be sharing a couple of customer examples as we go today, actually 4 customer examples. So this is the first here. These first 2 examples speak to that unlimited storage option. First, we have the Universidad Francisco de Vitoria in Madrid. This is a private university with a student body of more than 12,000 undergraduate and graduate students. And faculty and staff throughout the university were seeking a way to automate educational data collection throughout the university with an all-in-one scalable solution to streamline the multiple different solutions and processes that they had previously. You can see a nice quote on this page about how this has benefited the university overall. Again, they were using several different systems to share data. They often had to reformat and make edits to data before sharing. But since switching to Jotform Enterprise, they have been able to replace email and other manual work with automations to collect information about classes and exams or job applications. They've been able to streamline administrative tasks like charting student attendance, registering faculty and staff for training or conferences, making facilities reservations, and more. And all of this has meant that they are able to eliminate a lot of their paper waste, improving the organization's sustainability, and freeing up time for faculty and staff that they used to be spending managing this paperwork to focus on their core responsibilities. Next, we have the University of Michigan Athletic Department. This is a world-renowned athletics department with 350 staff members and 940 student athletes distributed across 27 different teams, a very large organization within the University of Michigan. They needed a powerful data collection platform with additional features that could help them optimize a variety of different processes, functions, workflows, and more. The athletics department found that after moving to Enterprise, they were able to improve collaboration across departments within athletics, which included academics, events, team management, HR, and more. Since setting up their 20-user account, they've created more than 900 forms, which speaks very well to that unlimited form option in Enterprise. These forms have received over 235,000 submissions. They have processed over $700,000 in payments, and they've saved an estimated $40,000 to $50,000 per year, plus hundreds of labor hours in administrative time. Our second key feature of Jotform Enterprise is that it can help build collaboration in a shared workspace. Within teams in Enterprise, you can set different roles and permissions. You can view user account history. You can monitor who's modifying and downloading data and when that's happening. I'm going to be showing this in a bit more detail in our demo today, but we do have another user example here that speaks very nicely to this feature. Pasadena City College enrolls over 29,000 new and returning students each semester. They were looking for a multi-user data solution that they could use throughout campus to be able to capture and share information with multiple staff, multiple stakeholders, again, throughout the college. They have found that Jotform has improved collaboration overall, since staff can now quickly and easily share and access student data. We see Angie's quote on this slide that speaks a bit to that. They've also found a lot of value in Jotform's single sign-on capabilities and two-factor authentication, which both streamline login as well as provide assurance that data is kept safe. That leads us very nicely into our next point about Jotform Enterprise, which is that it includes stronger data security on top of Jotform's already very secure platform. The option for single sign-on as an enterprise user means that you can log in with your university's identity provider, which reduces the risk of password-related security breaches. SSL also means that form users who have an email address with your organization are able to edit responses by logging into Jotform and save forms to continue later. And there is also an option for SSO-enabled prefill, which means that you can prefill form with single sign-on before somebody gets it. That minimizes opportunity for data entry error. Another security feature built into Jotform Enterprise is a dedicated local server. You can choose the location of your secure dedicated server so that data never has to leave the geographic boundaries that you set. This enables you to keep your online data isolated and secure while fulfilling local data residency requirements that you may be subject to. And Jotform Enterprise also provides organizational control over data, forms, workflows, and more. With Enterprise, unlike with an individual Jotform license, your entire organization owns the account instead of a single person. So if you've previously had a single person managing workflows within Jotform for your organization, that account is unrecoverable if they leave. They can take that data with them, or they can completely ignore that for the future and you still don't have access to it. Otherwise, on the other hand, enterprise accounts do provide you that access even if somebody leaves. For our final case study here, although we do have a few more slides after this, this is the last case study. We have the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. This is a vocational university in the Netherlands that serves 44,000 students. The university needed a form builder that was flexible, easy to use, and complied with the European Union's privacy standards, including that data residency, storing data locally on a dedicated server. Since becoming a Jotform Enterprise user, the university is taking advantage of integrations and conditional logic to automate complex enrollment processes throughout campus. Helps them turn campus event registration into a seamless experience of collecting payments, issuing tickets, and confirming registration, all online, all in the same workflow. Enterprise's multi-user structure makes it easy for them to customize access and share forms and data. And while I imagine any university has access to IT personnel, Amsterdam University did specifically mention that they appreciate being able to quickly leverage templates and forms without any technical knowledge needed to get started with that. All right, so that was our last case study, but I have 2 additional enterprise features that I want to call out before we move into the demo. So first, we have white labeling. With white labeling, you can customize your domain and create branded forms and apps. This helps boost user confidence that the form or app or whatever it is you're sharing with them is actually from your organization. That improves user experience and increases form completion rates. Lastly, Jotform Enterprise users enjoy dedicated support, so nobody has to be an expert on running your system. You don't need to hire a dedicated systems manager. You also won't have to wait for Jotform's already very good customer service that serves our entire user community, since you have dedicated support that can be especially useful and valuable when you're working with time-sensitive and really important forms and workflows that might go into enrollment or keeping a university running. Okay, so I'm just about to get into the demo. I did just want to talk a little bit about the long-term value of Enterprise before we get out into the demo. And sort of summarize what we've talked about so far. So Enterprise can replace multiple systems, as we saw in the first couple of examples. This can include resource planning, accounting, student enrollment, faculty and staff management, and more. Like the University of Michigan Athletic Department, you can save a lot of money with Enterprise. They saved, again, $40,000 to $50,000 and countless staff resource time. So Enterprise users typically find that a switch to Enterprise saves money and considerable personnel hours. And finally, you can opt into a multi-year contract, so you can build that into your budget, pay it one time, and then you have space in your budget future years for other programs. So a lot of value to your organization overall in the long term. And on that note, I am going to go out into Jotform and we'll proceed with today's demo. And okay, seeing the infinite loop of me. So now you should see my workspace. I'm going to be showing a couple of things in this demo, which I talked about throughout the slide. So I talked a bit about team management as well as process management within Jotform Enterprise. So I will be showing those features. And I'm starting here logged into my Enterprise account on my workspace. If you are already a Jotform user, this should look very familiar to you. Again, one of the only visible differences between a single license and an enterprise license is your team workspaces that you can see in the sidebar here. You can also see those from the drop down up here at the top. Before I go into workspaces, I did want to call out that this is still my personal space. You do have personal space in Enterprise. So we can see here forms, workflows, reports that I've created that currently only belong to me. If I would like to move them to a team, I can click on them and search for the move to team option right here, and then click move this team to move that over so I can perfect something before I share it. Okay, so now let's go into our team workspace. I'm going to click on this admissions review board team right here. And we're assuming for today's demo that I am a member of an admissions review board at a university, along with 2 other people. Here in my team workspace, those 2 people have been added, and we all have access to what we see here in the account. I have a number of different things. So I have a college admissions form that students are using to apply. There's a workflow built into that, and that workflow also incorporates the supplemental application. And then there's an internal form that we're having people sign to agree to be on the admissions board for the year. So it's serving the purpose of internal needs as well as external needs that folks internally need access to. Before I go into the workflow, I want to talk first about team management. So I created this team by default. I am an admin for the team. Up here in the upper right-hand corner of my team space, I have access to settings for the team. So I can see other team members. I can hover over them to see what role they have. I can invite new members right here. And there's also a team settings option right here, a little gear widget. I'm going to click on that to see our full team settings. So here, again, as an admin for the team, I have full control over what's going on in the team. That includes general settings like being able to change the slug for the team if I'd like. I can also change the look and the feel of the team up here at the top with little buttons here and here. I have full control over team member management. So here I can see every member of my team. If it's a big team, I can also search through those members. I can also see what their role is. And there are 4 different roles. So again, I'm an admin. That means I have full access to any assets, any data, as well as team management, personnel management for the team. In addition to that, we have a number of other roles. So there's a data collaborator. That is somebody who has all of the form, assets, apps, whatever, data access, but not administrative access. So they can't add or remove members. They can't track everything that's going on within the team. We also have 2 more content-focused roles. So a data viewer can only view forms and data. They can't create or edit forms. And a creator can view and edit forms, but they can't view data. So for example, if you have a student helper, student staff member that works with the admissions review board to help manage maybe some of the internal processes, and you need them to set up some forms, you'd probably want to add them as a data creator so they can create forms, but they don't have access to any sensitive student data from students who are enrolling. If you have somebody on the team who is responsible for maybe providing demographics information about student enrollment, that person is maybe somebody who's added as a data viewer so they can access the data they need, but they don't have any control over what's going on with the forms. So number of different options there that help really keep your account secure, make sure that nobody is accessing things inappropriately, that people have access to what they need when they need it. So very useful there. We have some security features that you can turn on and off here. System logs here will show you a record of any messages that are going out from the system. So for example, when somebody fills out the application, if you have your form set up to send a thank you message or a confirmation email, that's appearing here. You can see that. Above that is the team activity log. So that's one of the things I've mentioned that helps you control what's going on in the team as an admin for the team. This is where you can see all actions that have happened or been taken within the team. You can search, you can narrow down by date range. You can look at actions by a specific user or by a specific type of activity, from things like form creation, deletion, upgrades, changes, etc. So all of the asset related information activities, all the way through team title changes and design, the administrative pieces. You can download this, and again, you can check this out anytime you need. So for example, if you find out that a certain field on a form keeps getting changed and you want to know who's changing it, you can come in here, see when changes have been made to that form, and follow up with whomever is responsible for those changes. One other key feature as far as team security is here in the team visibility. By default, any team you create is going to be visible to your entire enterprise instance, your entire organization, and the assets within it will be visible, but anybody who's not on the team isn't able to access those assets. They can see that they're there, but they can't do anything with them. You can change that so that your assets aren't visible, but the organization, your team still is to the organization. Or for teams where you need a little bit more security, like probably in this case where we're dealing with some high-level university function, you can make that team private to the organization so only team members are able to find it. This looks like up here in the upper right of my entire screen here, you can see this all teams link. If I click on that, this is where I, as a member of this organization, can view all of the teams within the organization. For teams I'm not a part of, I can click on them, view the team workspace, and I can see that there's an asset here, but the only option I have is to view it, so I can fill it out, or I can just see what it looks like to users, but I can't do anything else. If I do collaborate with this team, I can request to join. That will go to one of the team admins to approve. I can also see my personal teams from here, and we can see my admissions review board right there. If I go back to organizational teams and start typing in admissions review board, you can see that that's not visible to the organization because I've made it private. So that is what that looks like to others throughout the organization. Okay, now I'm going to click this Jotformers logo, or whatever your logo is, up here in the upper left. That will get you back to the previous landing page anytime you click on it. So that's going to take me back to my admissions review board team page here. So I talked about team management. So again, just to recap that, team admins have all access to anything going on within the team, and all of that is managed under settings right here. Moving on from that, now I want to talk about a workflow and talk about how this team is incorporated into a workflow in addition to being able to grab forms data, et cetera, from here. So here we have a college admission form. I'm going to click Edit Form to open that up in the form builder. And this is a pretty straightforward application. We're looking for, student information, contact information, education, including GPA and SAT score, and then their application fee. I have added some internal fields to this form. So we see the sort of gray fields here. Those are not visible to students, but they are visible to me on the back end. And what I'm using these for is to create a rating out of GPA and SAT score to sort of standardize all of these applications. So most recent GPA translates into an internal score of 1 to 5. So a GPA of 4.0 or higher would be a 5, 3.5 to 3.99 a 4, and so on down the list. SAT score 1500 or higher is a 5, 14 to 1499 is a 4, and again, down the list from there. So we're looking for a total internal score somewhere from 1 or 2 to 10 based on those ratings. I've used conditional logic to set that up. I can point out where I did that, although I'm not going to get into detail about it. But this is important because this factors into the workflow for this form. So if I go into settings, this is where I can access that conditional logic. So again, not getting into detail here, but I did use conditional logic to create the calculation for all of those fields that is then being pulled into my workflow. The workflow is available right here, and I can hover over and look for the pencil icon to view and edit this workflow. This is a workflow built directly into this form, and it is might look like a lot initially. What this is showing here is that somebody submits this form. Once the form gets submitted, Jotform internally, this form is calculating what that internal 2 to 10 rating scale is. If that is a 10, we're going to push this application automatically to the admissions board to do an approval or a rejection of this application. If that is less than 10, that's going to go to an administrative review first. This administrator can say, okay, this person only scored in a 6, but they had a really, really strong essay and they have a lot of work experience, and I think they'd be a great candidate. So that person will review before passing along or before denying an application. If the administrative reviewer denies an application, the student will get an email that says something like, sorry, whatever, something probably a little bit more articulate than that. You can fully customize what that email says and what it's called. If the administrative review approves, again, that goes into the team approval bucket. When the team is approving, they have 3 options. So they can deny a candidate, in which case we can follow the line to go back to that sorry email. They can approve a candidate, in which case the student will get a welcome to XYZ University email. Or they can ask for more information or ask a student to provide a little bit more information, which is where that supplemental application comes in. All of these are fields from the right. Or the left here, I've added them by dragging and dropping them on the page. So we can see this if-else condition is a logical element. We also have this is an approval. This is a team approval. So you can see those right there. We also have an approve and sign option. The outcomes are emails here and here, or following up with an additional form right here. This form, the supplemental application, can also have a workflow built into it to carry it through the final process of admitting students who are asked to do the supplemental application. So this is really useful because, again, we talked about building team collaboration and easing workflows earlier in this session. We just looked at the team itself and how teams can easily grab information or forms or assets that they need from there. This is another way that teams can collaborate and work really well together, even if they're not physically in the same place at the same time, as well as a way for things to get pushed through a workflow with less human intervention than you would need otherwise. So again, in this case, the form gets submitted, this decision gets made automatically. The administrative reviewer or the team, the admissions review board, will get an email notifying them that there is something for them to review, so nobody has to track them down for that. Then they'll approve or deny, make their decision. The email that gets sent out automatically. It's pulling the email address that the student has provided in that form, so no human intervention there other than making that decision. Same thing here with the supplemental application. That form will go out automatically to the email that's already been provided. So there, again, are many fewer opportunities for human engagement, human error here. This is happening automatically. If we look a little bit more in depth at the team approval, I can do that by clicking on it and hitting the settings button here. We can see what's involved in this approval. So we have different outcomes. That's all fully customizable, including being able to change names. It doesn't have to be approve or deny. I've also added the conditional acceptance option as well. You select here the team that this is going to. You can't see it in this box for some reason, but you can see right here that it is going to the admissions review board. So that is one place where we do see teams being very useful throughout the system. You can just tag an entire team. From there, we have a completion rule in place. So I'm requiring all 3 team members to respond to this. And the decision that's made, the official decision, is the majority decision on that. So in this way, these 3 reviewers can work asynchronously. They don't need to be in the same place at the same time. They don't need to worry about scheduling time when they can all meet. This can happen whenever they have a free moment. We also have some other options here, like requiring a signature. Notification emails are on by default. That is how your approvers will be notified that there's something to approve. We can also require or not require them to log in to a Jotform account to approve. And then under advanced settings, we have some options for what happens if a decision doesn't get made in time, or requesting more information and more from there. So very useful, and again, makes it easy to collaborate and work together on what could be a very complex process. The last thing I want to talk about before we go back to the slides and close things out is how you can see where something is in the process. This is a question we get asked a lot when it comes to workflows. From here, where it says Workflow Builder here, I can access tables. Tables is a full record of all form responses that you receive. Each row is a new form response, and all of the data from that form is collected into tables. That includes flow status, which you can see right here. So you can easily come to a table, see where anything is in the process, and you can also, check in with people as needed from here. In addition to tables, which gets created automatically when you create a form, Inbox also gets created automatically when you create a form. And Inbox is basically a native email feature built into a form where you can view responses as an email and you can interact with them as an email. So here we see that same application. This is one person's application, and we're seeing the steps down here. It is prompting me to make a decision because I am one of the team reviewers, and we can see notifications down here as well. If we go back to the team, we can also access those from the team landing page. So if we click on any of these submissions, that's tables is right here. We can also access any reports or boards or anything else as far as data management or workflow management from here. And for options that you don't see up there along the top, you can click more here and you get the full scope of what you can do with this form. That includes being able to view Inbox from here. So in this way, anybody who is on the team who has access to data can come in here, pull that data anytime they need, interact with the assets as well as the data whenever it is that they need to do that for their job. Okay, that is everything I wanted to show in our demo here. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll close out with just kind of recapping the resources that I have in the below where you're seeing me currently. And then we can also take some time with questions as well. So if you have not asked a question you would like to, feel free to drop that in there now. In the resources, you'll see a number of things. There's a white paper about how technology can improve educator workflows. There are also all of the case studies that I mentioned in here. So if any one of those especially resonates with you and you want to learn more, or if you just want to read all of them, you can access all of them there. This is being recorded. This recording will go out to you either a little later today or tomorrow morning, and you'll still have access to the same thing. So those resources will still be available to you there. So if you don't catch them now, you will have them sent to you shortly. The resources also include a link to today's slide deck if you would like to check that out in more detail as well. Okay, so I am gonna, I do see we have a couple of questions, and let me just take a look at those. So there's a question about automating student enrollment processes. How do I do that? And that's, you're asking specifically about K-12 private school for parents. I think that workflow could be very similar to what I showed in the college admissions workflow. Again, there can be any number of steps. You might need to follow up with parents at some point, but basically workflows can be fully customized to do whatever it is that you need to do. You can, again, drag and drop any of those features. That can be multiple layers of approvals or multiple different outcomes. So, so do feel free to check that out and play around with that. If you'd like more resources about workflows, you can also get in touch with me directly, and I'd be happy to share those. I am Morgan, Morgan, at Jotform. I would love to hear from you for questions, to share your examples, whatever it is you need. But yeah, we do have plenty of other resources for workflows that go more into depth about how to use that feature. I'd like to give users access to build a form, but not publish it. And I would be the publisher. Is that possible? Yeah, so that would be possible in the team settings. So that would be, well, let me backtrack a little bit. Forms are accessible by default. So when you create a form, that form is created, but it is not visible to anybody unless you share the link. Let me actually go back to sharing my screen, and I can show you where your sharing options are. Here in the form, if we go to publish, this is where you have all of your sharing options, and that can be anything from a link, inviting people by email, QR code, social media, etc. So your form will be created. Anybody can create it, but especially in the team workspace, it does not have to be accessible to anybody. You can do that by sharing the link. So you do have that control over whether or not something is visible to an outside audience from there. Okay, let's see. Can I merge fields into an existing PDF document and email automatically to submitters? Yeah, I'm not, if I'm understanding this correctly, actually, let me share my screen once again, and I can show you what that looks like. So in Jotform, I showed you tables and inbox. You also have a PDF option. And again, that gets created automatically. So if you click on PDF editor, that will bring you to a PDF version of a form response. So here we can see that one person who's responded, and we see any activity that's happened. We see all of their information. This can be fully customized, as well as anything else in the site. You can remove fields by clicking on them and looking for like delete options. That probably wasn't, I don't want to delete the whole page, but looking for delete options for a particular field on there. You can make this look like whatever you want. You also have design options over here on the side if you want to add in a logo or change the color or whatever you want to do. And this can go directly to submitters. So if we go back to my form and settings and emails, when somebody responds to a form, you have an autoresponder as an option. You can edit this however you need. This is, again, this will go out to somebody as a confirmation that their submission was received. If you go into the advanced tab, there's an option to attach PDFs to the email. So that can be the PDF that you've created within the system. So if you have made any changes, whether it's merging fields or removing fields, removing sensitive information, you can automatically have that PDF go out to the person who submitted. Last question I see here, stop sharing, is when will we be able to use data from other tables in our forms as a data source? You can actually do that. I'm not sure exactly the capacity that you're looking for here. Actually, I'm going to share my screen once more. So if you go to, let's see, this window, share here, and you go to publish, there is a pre-fill option here, and you can use form or table pre-fill to pull in data from any form that you have in your account already. So you'll click on either of those. They're both pulling from the same data source. And you can choose another form or table to fill that out. It's going to automatically show you fields that map over easily, but you can always add or remove any fields. So you can do that. Again, I'm not sure what capacity you're specifically looking for, but this hopefully is a good fit for what you're trying to do. All right, I'm going to stop sharing officially now. I don't see any more questions. I believe that Alex has gotten to the others. So thank you, Alex. I want to thank you all for attending. I appreciate your time here today. We're going to be doing more webinars for the education folks out there in the coming months. So stay tuned for that. As I mentioned, please feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions. I'm Morgan at Jotform. We do also have, if you are an individual Jotform user, we have our support. That's jotform.com/contact. If you are an enterprise user already, you can get in touch with your support team directly as well. So please feel free to follow up in any capacity you need. Thank you again so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your days, and hopefully we'll see you at the next session. Bye.